Welcome to They're Not Like Us, the podcast where bold ideas and inspiring stories come to life. I'm your host, Aaron, here to challenge the norms and ignite your potential. If you're ready to level up, don't forget to subscribe and join the movement. Now, let's dive in. Hello, welcome to They're Not Like Us. I'm your host, Aaron, and today I'm joined by lovely Marshall. Welcome to the show, lovely.
Hi, Grand Rising, everybody.
Great to have you on the show. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, a little bit about me. My name is Lovely Marshall. I am the founder of Lovely Is Your Story, where we empower overlooked and undervalued businesses and professionals to add another zero to their bank account and eliminate the obstacle of being the best kept secret.
Love it. So your mission kind of revolves around the idea that everyone has a story, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your story then?
What is my story? My story is a short version from nursing school failure to landing a job at Facebook to being a Forbes coach and a lot of tragedy, ups and downs, amazing adventures in between. I think that's my story. I think overall, if I would sum it up, is that I consider myself the undefeated champion of enthusiasm because life knocked me a lot of blows and I'm still smiling and I'm still standing.
Love it. How do you use kind of your experiences and your story to help others?
Yeah. So I think the biggest one is the from failure to Facebook one. A lot of people had always asked me, how did I get to Facebook? How did I get a job at Facebook? And I don't even have a degree. And it was funny. I was talking to my friend and I was like, I was making $37,000 a year, so 37 pounds. And then I went with Facebook and I was making 37 pounds or $37,000 a month. And they were like, how did you do that? And it really then became this whole movement of, okay, if it were for me, like, what can other people do? How can they also make more money? Is it just me? Like, was I just a unicorn or is it something that I can massively take and do? And it has been amazing. Like in this economy today, like I have over 3 of my clients who just got job opportunities. And this is different, completely different field. One is an analyst, one is a lawyer, one is a nurse, one is a product manager, and they all received over 30% of a pay increase because of the fact that they took the bold step and they left their current company and was willing to go to another company.
That must be quite a leap for them. So what kind of
Oh my gosh, it's such a leap.
Yeah, man. So what kind of mindset shift did you have to help them with to kind of take that leap?
I think the biggest one is that people will pay you more for the exact same job that you have. Because what people get into, I wrote about this in Forbes, it's called the 2% comfort zone trap. In America, you are given a yearly raise. It's 2%. That you're guaranteed. You're guaranteed 2%. So people stay with this guaranteed 2%, 10%, 20%, 100% more if you would just switch and leave the company or apply for another job. But people are afraid of the unknown. And I think the biggest mindset shift is to know that they're worthy and deserving of a greater opportunity. Like you have to be willing to apply. I had never met Aaron, but I love his podcast name. And then I listened to a few episodes. They not like us. Like in America, that song with Kendrick Lamar is still going viral. And so I was like, oh, I totally want to be on this show. But it was scary. I don't know him. I'm in the US. What is he going to say? Is he going to say that he's not interested? But because I took a mindset shift to just say, like, hey, even if he tells me no, I at least did it. It was worth the try because that one no will put me to my one yes that I need to get. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, people just need to take the time to apply.
Yeah, it can be difficult, right? I think everybody's afraid of that
Mm-hmm.
rejection, aren't they? On
Yes.
probably on loads of levels, really. So, but
Yeah.
actually getting them rejections out of the way and moving forward, you actually find, find a way forward. You find something that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's difficult. How do you kind of help people kind of make that shift with their mindset then? Because it's not easy for people, right? And
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time to get to that position where you can, or support at least, to get
Mm-hmm.
that position where you can feel comfortable enough to take them risks or to face that potential rejection.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Mine is a mastermind community. So I don't know if in the UK a lot of people have heard of Napoleon Hill, but he wrote this book called Think and Grow Rich. And in the book, he talked about how you have this mastermind community, which is basically a community of people who you get, who supports you, who cheers you on, who will hold you as accountability partners. And that's what I really use as sort of like my secret sauce. Because when you have people who are also interviewing at the same time, who are also going through the same battles as you, and they get that one yes, then it provides momentum because they're like, oh my God, I got this job interview and like this stuff really works. And then another person get in, they're like, y'all, she knows what she's talking about. I think that that helps. Like when you have other people who are cheerleading and going through it, because people always will say, okay, well, Lovely can do that because that's her. But when it becomes to you and you're just the person who we call in the US like a everyday Joe, just a person who seems like they're just ordinary and they get success, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is something here. So I use the accountability partners. I use the mastermind community where you have people going through the exact same things that you're going through. Like you and me, Aaron, we're both podcast hosts, podcast guests. And so it's nice. We were opening up and we were talking about like, how do we keep ourselves energized and what do we do to be on shows and things? It's really insightful because I do 4 a day. You were like, no, I just do 2 and that's enough. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to do my strategies because I want to be sure that I'm energetic, that I'm showing up. So simple things like that, you build a community. And I think especially with people who are entrepreneurs, we really need a community because it gets so lonely.
I think that's something that's often overlooked, right? People see,
Mm-hmm.
like they see on the internet, they see all these really successful
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs who've got like loads of money and
Mm-hmm.
they've been really successful. They've got people around them, big teams that they work with. But the journey to get to that point is a lonely one, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
people never even get there. A lot of people, that's not a bad thing. That might not be your measure of success, having lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the freedom of being able to run your own schedule and just work by
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and that's enough. But it can be really lonely, especially in the modern world where there's a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff that's done over
Yes.
the internet. You don't have
Yes.
that kind of personal connection a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to someone and we were discussing how in this world, especially with social media, you're liked because, everybody hearts everything. You're liked, you're loved, you're loved, but then you're lonely. So we talked about like how you can be liked, but still feel lonely, even though you're not alone. You may have a world of people, but you feel lonely because you're missing that connections. And so I strongly suggest people to get on podcasts, especially they not like us, because it's really healing. I'm not talking to you about work. You and I are having a conversation where we're talking about life, and I'm learning your experience, and I'm loving how you say loads of money, and I'm learning how to talk, with people who are cross cultural. It really is eye opening and it's freeing, and it helps you to know that you're not in this world alone.
Absolutely. It definitely helps. And it helps to have kind of people in your corner helping you along, especially if, because entrepreneurship as well, it's not straightforward, right? People think it's a linear line, but it's not. It's a bit like the stock
No.
market, right? You have some really good times and you have some awful times, and it's up and down and it's all over the place, and you gotta kind of navigate that. So it's an
Yes,
emotional roller coaster.
yes, yes. It is.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I love that analogy with the stuff.
yeah, but that's what it's like, man. And you need support, right? You need people to help you through,
Yes,
not only help you through the bad times, but also, to celebrate the good times with you. Because
yes.
who wants to celebrate alone?
Yes, nobody wants to celebrate alone. And I think that's something that is really, really incredible. Even though, like with you, I typically don't personally know you, but I celebrate you. Like when I see your stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so exciting. I'm going to be on his guest. And so seeing who you're connecting with, so then it gives me an opportunity to reach out to other people like, wow, I heard you're doing this. That's really cool. I'm interested in learning more. So you really are providing an incredible platform for people to be introduced to so many others around the world. So I celebrate you. Kudos to you, Aaron.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. And to be fair, the podcast for me, I don't know how your experience has been with yours, but for
Mhm.
mine, I've just got to meet loads of great people, and it's been amazing. I have all these conversations with people who, you know, majority are in the States, to be honest. So I wouldn't have met otherwise.
Wow.
So it's really, really good for me. I'm really enjoying it.
Wow. I had no idea. I think I might need to change mine and put that I'm like located in the UK or Australia or something. So that way I can get more. Because I've been getting a lot of people in the States too, but I want as an opportunity to meet other people, just to get a connection. I love just the different languages, understanding the various challenges too. So I can't say I have a global product, but I don't understand some of the challenges that others face in UK and China and Asia or wherever that person is located at. So I love that. I love that you get so many people because even though you're in the States, I'm certain like that's how it is in the UK, we're still not the same. You have people who are Brooklyn, New York diehards. They're completely different than people who grew up in Kansas. And then you're different from the people who grew up in California. It's just because we all are in the States, we are not the same.
Yeah, I've met lots of different people in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big, big country, right? So you have
Hmm.
a lot of differences in kind of accents and beliefs and everything, really. So it's quite interesting. So, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Oh my gosh. You know I do. Oh my gosh, like I do. Like, let me show you all this book. This book is called The Magic of Believing. I love this book. And there's this other book called The Magic. I love that book too. It's with Rhonda Byrne because so many people have different laws of attraction. I like different books that talks about it, but the one with Rhonda Byrne, it's called The Magic, and it talks about having a magical day and you plan your day before it actually happens. It is so powerful. So you say, thank you, thank you, thank you for a great podcast with Aaron that's going to attract me my high ticket clients, or thank you that today when I wear my shirt, everyone is going to compliment me on it. But you plan your day before it happens and you write about it, and I was blown away by just simply saying thank you for before my day happens. How many great things come out of it. It is this magnificent. So I believe in the law of attraction. I practice the law of attraction. I tell everybody about the law of attraction. Like I think that it is really a great way to get you out of a funk. Like it really is. How about you?
I do, but not in the sense that a lot of people kind of. I say a lot of people.
Mhm.
There is a core of people that think that you can just wish something's going to happen and then that's going to happen. I don't believe that, but I do believe that, if you want something and you can, you kind of visualize it and you imagine it in your brain, you will work harder towards it. So it's similar to the placebo effect, right? Because if you take tablets that you think is a medicine, but it's not, your body can actually physically react because that's the power of the mind. So there's obviously something there. There's something to the fact that if what you believe will definitely help you get to that point. But I still think you have to put in the work as well. There's a balance to it because some people don't put the work in.
100%. They don't. They don't put the work in and they're just like, oh, it's going to happen. That's why I was saying, like, you're planning your day ahead. So my day was planned that I reached out to you first to come on your podcast, They Not Like Us. And then from it being that today, I'm like, from the shows and the people that have, I'm believing that I will get high ticket clients. Again, I put in the work, and now from that work, I will be able to get things. So I completely agree. It's action, which is why action is at the end of attraction. You have to act in order for you to attract with it. So I love that part of it. I was asked one day of like, how would you describe like your perfect day as like in terms of the law of attraction? And I was blown away by like when I ask people this question, they never say like it's to be on a beach or like anything. It's a really, really surprising what people say, like what they would describe as their perfect day.
Go on, give me an example.
Yeah, so like I asked a friend of mine, like, what was her perfect day? And she said that her perfect day is to be fully immersed in completing her next book, and where she just has all the insights where she can complete the 7 chapters and her book will be completed and she can send it over to her editor with minimum edits because she was so immersed and so talented. And then she's gonna go for a drink with her husband to celebrate the fact that she's finally completed her second book. Like that's what she described as her perfect day. Oh my God. Like it was, I was thinking, like it's in Paris, it's something so that was really exciting to hear. So what would you say, Aaron? Like, what is your perfect day?
I'll come on to mine in a minute, but I really like that. I like ultimately we want to be fulfilled, right? We want to achieve something. We don't want to just, sitting on the beach is lovely for 2 weeks, 3 tops, but you get bored, right? And like if you have no purpose in life, then your life becomes quite miserable quite quickly. So, and I think that's why, when people get older and they retire and then they have no purpose, they just kind of deteriorate kind of really, really quickly. I think, the ones that maintain a purpose and a goal for life, they kind of seem to remain more mobile, more mentally active and agile and stuff like that. So I think having a goal is really, really important. Mine is all around my podcast at the minute. So everything that I do is kind of focused around this. So if
Okay.
if it was for me, it would be to, get the millions of equipment that I want because I want so much equipment. It'd
Yeah.
be, being able to work towards getting all that, getting myself, a proper studio setup. At the minute I work in my home
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
but I would like a full-time studio and stuff like that. That's kind of my goals that I'm working
Yeah.
towards. And
Yeah.
if I achieve those, then they'll no doubt move and there'll be new goals. But
Yes. Yeah.
it's having something to aim for, right?
Yeah, it does. And I love that too. Even with yours, it's the podcast. For me, mine is similar. So my goal, like the perfect day for me, would be to speak on Lakewood Church. It's a church that I attend. It's with Pastor Joel Osteen. But to speak on that stage where there is literally, it's in a stadium, 16,000 people can fit in it. And being able to have my family on stage with me before just to say thank you for believing in me, like that we have arrived, share my testimony, and go home to my home that's on 40 acres of land in a 6 bedroom house. Like That to me would be like the best dream day, to like have a house that's on 40 acres of land and to speak at Lakewood Church and just being able to say like, hey, this is what happened. This is what like done in my life. Like that's the perfect day. So I love that for us. Like I love the fact that nobody is saying it's on the beach. And that just really is empowering it. Like you said, we have a purpose driven life.
Absolutely. Yeah, if we don't have a purpose, we kind of lose. We kind of lost at sea, right? And we don't really know what we're doing from day to day, and then we just become lazy, and then we end up being miserable, and it's just not ideal moving forward.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So how about then the people who have goals and have a purpose, but kind of feel a bit overlooked or undervalued? How do they kind of start their
Hmm.
journey? How would you help them start their
Yeah,
journey?
yeah. I think the first step that we do is that acknowledgement of it. So when I was trying to describe, because they say like put in one word, how do your clients feel? And I was like, okay, they feel this and this and this. They're like, no, one word. And undervalued, that piece is that you're not compensated enough. And it's not even could be just in money, it could be in recognition. Sometimes you're undervalued because you do so much and then you don't get the recognition that you deserve. You're not invited to the company meetings, or your leadership leaves you out, that you feel undervalued. Like what do I do? Does it really matter? And then the overlooked aspect of it is that you may have applied for the promotion, or you may have wanted to be considered and no one even thought about you. They brought in other top talent and they forget about the people who are there. It's sort of like in America, we have these big things called AT&T and T-Mobile, like there are our mobile providers. And what they do, and I'm sure it's like this in the UK, they will love your new customers more than they love your existing customers. So the new customers get the new iPhone and the new Samsung and the new Google phone. And then us old customers who've been with them for 10 years plus, we have to pay for that exact same phone that they're giving their new customers. Like, well, what about me? Like, don't you value me? I'm the one who's making you money to get new customers. Why aren't you like trying to promote me and love on me? And that's how sometimes it's felt in the workplace, but especially business owners feel undervalued because they could be the best thing in their industry, but they don't know how to market themselves appropriately. They don't know the strategy. They don't have the right connections of what to do. And so they are left undervalued because they're selling a product that should be $3,000, but they're selling it for 30 because, oh, nobody's buying it. So it must be the cost. No, it's not the cost part. It's how are you positioning yourself? Who are you selling it to? Do the right customers even know about you versus your family and your friends who's buying those things, and not your position to your ideal client? I think what we do is recognizing the fact that they feel that, because I say who feel overlooked and undervalued. That doesn't mean that they are overlooked and undervalued like themselves. They just feel that particular way. And because they feel that way, now it's time to make a change. I don't make a change until I feel some way. If I feel uncomfortable, then I will make a change to get better. If I feel as if I'm tired, then you go to sleep. So it's the feelings that helps them to move towards the attraction. And the biggest thing that we do, we start out with an assessment, because I want to understand, how are you feeling at this moment and what is your ideal life? I want to know, I want you to say, what is it that you want? How many people do you know, Aaron? They always are like, I don't want this. I don't want this in a man. I don't want this in a job. I don't want my podcast to be like this. I don't want this. They know exactly what they don't want, but rarely do people talk about what they want. So with my clients, we talk about what it is that you want. Don't tell me that you don't want to keep having your boss overlook you, or you don't want customers to keep haggling you. What exactly is it that you want? And that's the first step into moving them from overlooked and undervalued to become a paid powerhouse.
Do you think any of that is from self-esteem or lack of self-esteem?
I don't think so. I felt like for me, it wasn't the self-esteem, it was the lack of how do I move from here to there. It's that lack of clarity and guidance, I feel, is more. It's the everybody else is doing this, so why should I be different? And which is why I love, like, they not like us, because they not like us. Just because everybody else is doing it, they not like us. They're not like us. So we need to move forward. We need to be better because they're not like us. Yeah, they can stay where they're at, but we deserve more. It's that desire to want more that really helps us. I think the key is that they're probably under resourced, especially business owners. They're typically under resourced. And for the professionals, it's often that they have a lack of clarity of, like, how do I get there? I've been doing this for so long. How do I get there? What do I go about doing? And that's also through our powerhouse journey that we take them through with, okay, what is your specific strategy that you need to pivot from overlooked and undervalued to becoming paid and adding another zero to your bank account and getting that rewarding and purposeful career?
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Small business owners, especially, and entrepreneurs would do so much, trying to do everything themselves. It's really, really difficult, isn't it? Without having other people to kind of lean on and rely on.
Yes, yes, yes. That under-resourced part is so crucial. And I think people forget about their community. Who are you connected to? So, for instance, for me, I'm one person with three part-time employees. But the great thing that I'm like, what can amplify my message is being on podcasts. Podcasts are a great way of what I call power plays, that you can turn a conversation into a customer conversion, because people may not know that, "Oh, I didn't even know Lovely existed, but I want more in my career too, and I want to get to Facebook." And so by having a conversation with Aaron, now I get to have opportunity to engage with customers and do more. So you could be under resourced, but how are you leveraging your day? What does your typical day look like? Are you posting all day on social media, where that may not be the case where your clients are living? It might be where you need to go to networking events. It might be where you need to go on podcasts. It might be actually, in fact, that you should volunteer and get your name out there. There are multiple ways for people to know about you, and all of them doesn't just come sometimes from social media.
Yeah, that's quite important, actually. There are other ways out there, and everybody just looks to social media because that's the go-to, right? So everybody thinks, oh, we'll just put it out on social media. We'll just do this on social media. When there are often better ways to do it.
So many better ways. Remember, they not like us. They not like us. You gotta go different. You gotta go different.
Absolutely. The beauty of a podcast, for instance, or the networking events is people can actually properly get to know you. Whereas when
Mm,
they're looking at a short clip on social media, it might be enough to get them interested to find out a little bit more, but they're not going to get to know you from them short little clips.
no,
You need
no.
to engage them in conversation, or, like, them be a part of the conversation, like with you speaking to me today. They can get to know you properly, see what you're all about, see what you know, what you don't know. The same with networking events, right? You can have them two-way conversations and actually build relationships, because that's what it's all about. It's all about building relationships.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I learned a power move that really helps you to stand out in networking. So you go, and your job is to connect somebody else with someone else. So let's say, for instance, I meet Aaron, and then I meet somebody else. And Aaron has a podcast. And I'm talking to this person and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to get out there for a podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, you should connect with Aaron because Aaron has a podcast. Now, what you've done is you connected two people. So you have two allies that will speak and they will say, we met at this networking event because Lovely introduced us. That's a game changer. You now have two people who have a story that when you are looking for clients or when you need something, they will remember you. I have used this so many times because I fulfilled their need. They will fulfill my need. Aaron's looking for guests. This other person is looking for hosts. I've connected them with their need. And now my need is to find clients and being able to connect with other people. They will then be like, hey, you're looking for a job opportunity. Well, she's a former Facebook employee. She's connected to LinkedIn and all these amazing employees with Apple and Google and stuff. You should reach out to her and she can be able to do it because I met Lovely and we met at this networking event and I think that she's great. Again, those are great ways to get you to stand out. It's not just a clip, it's a conversation that helped me to be able to grow my business. And I think that is powerful for business owners. Like, I dare you all to try it the next time you go to any event, especially with the holidays coming up. All these holidays, try to connect two people together and watch how it transforms your friendship or your life. Even if you're looking for like a wife or a husband, like connect that person with like a friend, like connect that need. And then it's like, oh, we were talking about such and such the other day and now your name popped up. So that's a really great way to stand out and be remembered.
It definitely is, and I think it's overlooked, the kind of networking element, and even social media now is supposed to be social, right? So you're supposed to engage with people, talk to people. That's the whole point of it. And a lot of the time, we just endlessly doom scroll, watch a load of reels. I don't actually communicate with anybody. There's nothing actually social about it, right?
I'm going to refrain from commenting because I did build a lot of those tools, but it isn't social at all. That is so funny. That is the word for 2025. Social media is not social at all. I think the way to be more social is to join live conversations. Like when people go live on Instagram, when people go live, especially on TikTok, I really love TikTok for their live conversation because people will talk. You can invite them in as guests. And then I will see like 20 people on TikTok. I think that they did very well in terms of leading this conversation with lives and inviting hosts to join the conversation. That's a really great way to be social because it'll be a topic that you post about, like, okay, they not like us. We're going to talk about how, we're different, and then somebody else will like invite you to like join, and that's more social than this aimlessly scrolling. You are right. People don't like anything anymore. They don't put anything in the comments. Like, it's really crazy to see that we are supposed to be more social and we're not. We're just consuming it. We're not engaging with it. Wow, you said something there, Aaron. That is really good.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed for a while, and it's wild to me because we call it social media and we're not social on it. We're becoming less and less social in general as humans. You're right about the TikTok stuff as well. That is really good. That is engaging. I've seen quite a lot of that, and there's quite a lot of kind of live streamers who even play games on there, but still engage with people. So that's what you want, right? You want that engagement, and that's how you build relationships and get to know people and stuff. So it's really important. But
Totally important.
all these things are changing. The algorithms have changed, haven't they? To kind of
Always.
to to just feed people content now in that way, and the more content they feed them, and the longer they keep them on the platform, the better. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of
Absolutely.
the way it goes. But
Yeah.
how do you kind of maintain high value relationships in this kind of instant gratification and high real
That is a
world?
great question. How do you maintain high value relationships? Wow, that is powerful. So I do a Wealthy Wednesday check in, or I would say a Wellness Wednesday check in with all of my friends. Wednesday, they know they're going to get a call from Lovely. And I challenge you all to do this. Don't do text messages. Do the voice message where you can literally do your voice. And I'm like, hey guys, it's a Well-Being Wednesday. Y'all know what day it is. I'm checking in on y'all. Are we getting the money? What are we doing? Are you getting your husband yet? Are we bringing in the dollars? Are you kids? Or what are we doing? You know, it's the middle of the week. We're planning it. Don't give up. You know, it's going to be great. And they always are like, oh my gosh, like, I love this. This just made me smile. You know what time to like send it. And then they'll send back their audio message. They're like, okay, well, what podcast you get on this week? Where do I need to tune in with you? So I have learned the voice message versus text messages really, really help people smile. You hear the enthusiasm, and it's much better than the topic of the text of like, how are you doing? Everybody is going to say fine. Everybody is going to say fine. Nobody wants to burden you with their problems. But when you hear their voice, you can be able to hear like, okay, it's not going well. What's going on? We need to go from this text message, voice message to an actual in-person connection. And a lot of my friends, Aaron, they don't live in Houston. They're in Chicago. They're in North Carolina, in Dallas, Texas, California, Seattle. I met this amazing woman who's in South Africa. So I have to make sure it's at the right time. And then my favorite little cousin, she's in Barcelona for the Navy. So I'm like having to make sure I meet at their times. And I will do a FaceTime where I'm like, okay, we need to get on the call. And I try to do this at least once a month where I'm FaceTiming you and we're seeing each other. How are you doing? Like, let me look at your face. You're not looking so well. What's going on? And I'm a big believer. So we always like try to pray for each other, really just try to send each other like positive connections because, like you said, it's really hard to maintain high value relationships. We're all busy. And me being an entrepreneur, like I was a previous Facebook employee. And to let you all know, like Facebook employees are the hardest working employees outside of TikTok. TikTok employees got us beat, as you can see with their platform. But Facebook, you work like 10 to 12 hours a day. It's long. But as an entrepreneur, you work just as much, if not more, because you're working with people, you're having to follow up with people. So I make time for my friends to maintain that high value friendship. And it's simply as doing a FaceTime call. But you also have to be sure that you remove some of those relationships that are not high value. Back in July of this year, I went through and I just blocked a lot of people who I was not feeling like was genuinely pouring into me. If I was always checking in on them, they would never check in on me. They didn't really respond back to me. Or the only time they wanted to talk is because they wanted something from me. They wanted some money. They wanted some help. They never checked in on me. I went through my phone contacts and I literally had 600 in July. I'm now down to 200. I removed so many people, family, friends out of my life, co-workers, like ex-co-workers, because I'm like, you no longer belong at my next season. Where I'm going to in 2025 and beyond, you can no longer be attached to me. So I think it's a matter of really maintaining those that are high value while removing the ones who can be toxic or draining from your life. How do you go about doing it?
Yeah, I think that's really good way to do it, and it's really important. So I don't generally remove people, but I kind of, I kind of know who's important to me and who's not, and I know who's there for me and who's not. And you know, for those people that are, I have all the time in the world for them, and you know, I'll do whatever I can to help and support them. And for those who aren't, then they don't really get my time of day. They can They can watch me on social media. They can see what I get up to. They can watch me win. They can watch me lose. I couldn't care less. Really couldn't care less. No, I have probably a handful of people who are really, really important to me, and
Yeah.
I just, they are who I prioritize in my life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. I am a big remover. I call myself the blocker. I will block people in a second because I recognize that I am a people pleaser. And if I give you access to my life and I don't block you, then I feel obligated to answer your response. So, the best way for my peace of mind and for all the people pleasers out there, sometimes you got to block people. That's family, that's friends, that's bosses. I wrote a Forbes article about that because I was like, yeah, I had to block my boss. And they were like, wait, you blocked your boss? I was like, yeah, I did. I blocked my boss at Facebook. I wanted to build a coaching industry. Then I was afraid, like, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? So I went through and I blocked my boss and I blocked everybody in my company who I emailed. So it was like 60 people that I had emailed over the past 6 months. And I was like, okay, well, these are people who I'm worried about that if they see me on a podcast, if they see me posting, then they're going to tell other people about it. So let me just block them. And then that way I don't have to worry about it. And when I blocked them, I was so freed. I didn't have to worry about like what are they going to say if they see me. It was like I was living in a prison, Aaron, because I was so scared of what people would think. And the moment I blocked people, it was like the prison gates was open and I got to meet you. Like I got to meet so many other amazing people because I no longer was afraid.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And ultimately, that's part of what my podcast is to try and help people get to that point. So, however you get there, that's what's worked for you. It might be something different for somebody else, but getting to that point where you're free to be yourself and you can be authentic, and you don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks about you. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, then you should be free and be yourself and go and live your life because you only get one go at it.
Yes, you only get one go, one go.
Yeah, so it's
Mm-hmm.
really important that people kind of find their voice, and for me it's being out here podcasting and sharing with other people. Uh, for other people it might just be art, it might be coloring, it could be anything, it could be reading, whatever it is, but just, kind of you got to kind of nurture your soul and make yourself happy and just really have that kind of fulfillment in your life.
Yes, 100%. And this goes back to the social media connection part. I really think that people should do podcasts because it is so freeing. You get to learn so much.
Yeah, it's been brilliant for me because I'm hopefully helping other people and kind of teaching other people a little bit, but also at the same time, I'm learning from all the great guests like you and the other people that I have on the show that I get to learn from. So it's kind of a two-way experience, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing to number one, connect with someone who is in a completely different culture and recognizing that some of the things that we have in America, because we just always feel like, oh my gosh, it's in America, like and things are falling apart. It's like, no, like things are going crazy in other countries too. People the same desires, the same goals, and they're still going at it. Like you're like, hey, I have a studio that I'm using my office work, but I'm not like that gonna stop me. Most people, again, they not like us. They be like, oh, I gotta wait until I get the studio, then I gotta wait till I get the design right, then I gotta wait till I do this. No, you just went for it. You're like, okay, what do I need? I need headphones and a mic and a nice background. I'm going to go, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to, impact the world. And you are. So I thank you for showing up and being different so that way you can provide insights and a platform for so many people to feel connected.
Yeah, and it's important that people just start. So when I
Hmm.
started, I didn't have these lights behind me and the sign, and this mic had a cheap, awful mic. I was using my webcam rather than the digital camera that I'm using now, and like all this stuff I just built up gradually over time. I didn't start with it. I just started, and I think that's important that people just start, and everything else will come with time.
Yes, my greatest hero of all time is Muhammad Ali. And he says one of my favorite quotes for him is even the greatest was once a beginner. Don't be afraid to take that first step. And that's what people get caught up at. They are afraid to take that first step. And the first step, like you said, was maybe all I had was a webcam. Maybe all I had was this, but you took the first step. And because you continue to get better and better and better, you're attracting more and more people who also are wanting to get better and know that, I'm not afraid to take that first step. I'm going to do exceptional. So, really, I celebrate you for doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely a powerful message that people need to do, because you get caught in this kind of catch-22, right? Where you're waiting for something to start, but the only way you're going to get there is by starting. So you want to be good before you start, but the only way to get good is by actually doing it. So transformation isn't like a future event; it's a present day
No,
activity. You've got to continually be doing it.
exactly, exactly. So in my hair, like I always wear butterflies, and that is a representation of that transformation. Like you have to transform, and it doesn't happen overnight, but you go from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. But it's that cocoon phase that people skip over. It was the part that it had to go from the legs to one wing to two wings. It's really inspiring to know like that you gradually got things better and better and better, and you're going to get better because now it's going to be the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get the soundproof where you'll be able to do the soundproof walls, and it'll be an actual like studio. Everything you're doing is a different step to get you better to where you are. So I celebrate you for the fact that you did it, and we celebrate every person else who is going to stop listening and actually reach out to Aaron and request to be a guest on his podcast so that way you can start sharing your story with the world.
Yeah, it's such a powerful thing that people need to get into their heads. I think it's that 1% improvement, that constant improvement over time. If I can improve just 1%, it's probably not noticeable on the day, but over 100 days, that's 100% improvement, and it compounds. And I'm just going to keep getting better and better. And it's the same for everything and everyone. They can do it. They just need to actually start, look at where you're at, and then, right, how do I get better? And then do it again. How do I get better? And that's
Yeah.
how you get anywhere in life, right? That's how we do
Yeah.
all of it.
Did that come from a book, The 1% Improvement? I love that. You know, Prove 1% every day and then you're 100% for 100 days. I love that.
Kind of just made it up a little bit.
Okay, well, can you repeat that one more time for the people who didn't hear that? Repeat that one more time. That was so good.
I kind of made it up a little bit, but I stole it a bit as well. So there's a theory, right, from professional cycling, right? It's called marginal gains, which it was a Team Sky, they were called. They were a British cycling team, probably about over a decade ago now. And they brought in this theory of marginal gains, where if they make these 1% improvements over time, they will beat their competitors all the time, and they will continually get better. And it worked, and they were really good, and they improved different areas. So it wasn't just the cyclist, it was the bikes, the way that they travel, the pillows that they use, the nutrition, everything. They just looked at everything and go, how do we get these little 1% improvements? So, and that's kind of where I've kind of stole it from, and what I use in my own everyday life. Really, if I can get 1% better every day, then just in 100 days I'm going to be 100% better than I was. So that's how I look at it, and that's how I've kind of approached the
Wow,
podcast.
I love that. I have never heard of that, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to listen to this again so that way I can write that down. 1% better. So there you guys have it. So for 2025, you have to get 1% better every single day. What's the thing that you want? And just try to get 1% better at it. And then you'll be better 100% better than your old self and better than your competition. Amazing advice, Aaron. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm really blown away by this. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's just something small that I use to keep me moving forward. But if somebody's like feels really stuck now, right, or they're unsure where to start, right, what's one immediate action that you think that they should take to kind of get them going?
Yeah, I think the first immediate action is really deciding, not making a choice. Too many people are like, well, I could go here or I could go here. No, make a decision. You have to make a decision. I made a decision that I wanted to do this. I think the biggest thing that people do, they're afraid of talking about what is it that they want. And I keep saying for everybody, for 2025, do 25 things. So if your goal is to be on a podcast, connect with 25 podcast hosts that you would like to be on and send them a connection. I have a template I'm happy to send out to you. It's really easy. You simply you introduce the show. It's all about them. So for me, I was like, hey, Aaron, I heard about your show. I listened to a podcast. I love your title, They Not Like Us. I told him what it reminded me of. I let him know what you will get from me. You'll get somebody who's energetic, who has over 20K followers, and then tell them what it would mean to be with you. And then if it's for a job, make a commitment to over to 25 jobs, because what you will notice is that after that 25th job, you might get a few no's for the first 5. And then after that 5, then you'll get a recruiter to reach out to you. And then you might get an interview. And then you might get the second interview. And then
Yeah, I think as well, if you're doing that, we could apply that 1% theory as well, right? Because if you apply for
yes,
one and
yes,
and you get feedback, you can improve your next one, and then you get feedback, improve your next one, and keep going that way, right?
yes. Exactly, exactly. You heard it here first. 1%. Approve 1%. So 1% of whatever it is. And I know people say goals are hard, but it's the daily actions. It's your daily task. What are you doing daily to improve it? So if you do one podcast that you reach out to day one, and then day two, you do 2 podcasts that you've now been able to reach out, and maybe your messaging is better because you listen to another podcast and you're like, hey, I want to talk about this topic. You will learn more and more and more. That 1%, like you heard it here first on the They Not Like Us. Improve 1% better.
Yeah, and you only learn by doing. Like you can have all the theory in the world, but until you start doing, you won't truly learn what it kind of takes to achieve what you want to achieve.
100%. I agree. I totally agree with that.
Lovely. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you and learn a bit more about
Yes,
you?
yes. So everyone can find me. My name is Lovely Marshall, and I can be found on TikTok, especially LinkedIn, especially for all my business owners. Your clients are on LinkedIn. Why aren't you? It's I am Lovely Marshall. I am Lovely Marshall. Lovely Marshall at all podcasts, for LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. I will put this episode on YouTube. So I am Lovely Marshall. You can find me everywhere. And let's take you from overlooked and undervalued, eliminating the obstacle of you being stagnant, and let's get you to become a highly paid powerhouse. So really excited to connect with everybody.
Yeah, I'll make sure people know where to find you. I'll pop some
Yeah,
links in the show notes or something to make it easy for people.
absolutely.
So,
Thank you, Aaron.
my pleasure. Before we wrap the show up, can we just go through? Do you have any kind of final thoughts or messages that you want to leave people with?
Yeah. I think the final thought that I learned today is make a commitment in 2025 to be 1% better and to honor the year of 2025. Make sure you do things. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, do it 25 times. You want to get a husband, go on 25 dates. Like, be committed to at least going on 25 dates. And then, before you call it quits, and document, like, okay, this one went better. This one paid. Make sure you notate the positive. So I think for me, even myself, my now new thing is that I am going to attempt to do things 1% better each day, write out my goal, and then make an effort to be 1% better. So I thank you so much, Aaron, for enlightening me and opening up the conversation for us to have it. And so that way they not like us, I'm not like them. I can be better than the competition and dominate the field. And thank you, all of our UK listeners and the people in the States.
Lovely. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a brilliant time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Take care. Bye.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Thanks again for being part of this journey. Stay tuned. We've got even more great conversations coming your way.